Hey guys, welcome back. I know you're getting used to my consistent uploading, so let's first give a round of applause to me for keeping it consistent. I don't know if I'm going to keep it up, but let's hope and pray. First off, I got a new microphone and I just tested out the sound on this thing. This thing is amazing. So, first off, let's answer my microphone and welcome back to another video on this channel. So I think this is gonna be a start of a new series where I go into each total drama character. Every single total drama character from generation one to the new generation. I have not finished watching the reboot. I am on episode I think 4 of the reboot and I have not watched it since. Yay. And I have not finished World Tour on my Total Drama binge. Also, yay. I am still fanfic writing, of course, and I am still working on the What If video. Again, like I said last video, leave your guesses down below on who I am talking about because in the next few videos, I am going to announce who this character is in probably a short form video. I won't lie. But please guess guess down below and I'll give you a hint. It's this character is from My Little Pony Equestrian Girls, and I think he might be the most hated from what I've seen. So leave your guesses in my big amount big announcement video down below. You should be able to see a comment, my comment where I say, hey guys, please leave your guesses of who I'm focusing on in the what if videos down below. I don't remember. I just put that comment. But last video I said I was last video when I went into the total drama love triangle and how I just do not care about that in any single way possible. I said I was going to do videos on each character, my certain thoughts in it, and all that jazz. And we are doing that today. So we're going in alphabetical order from the first generation to the fourth generation. And our first character today, we are going to be talking about Alejandro, the total drama antagonist from the first season, Total Drama World Tour. He might be the best antagonist. I said this in our last video. He's the best antagonist by far. So today we are gonna get into him and and what his role was in the show. So before we get into it, make sure make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and comment down below on how you feel about Alejandro and your thoughts on it. And now let's get into it. I'm actually going off the fandom right now because my screen's actually split in half with my camera and the total drama wiki. So I'll link that below on each video, and I'll also make a playlist for this whole series. So if you want to go check the playlist, you'll be able to see each video as it's being made. And I'm pretty sure the next character we are going to be talking about. Hold on. The next In the next video, we'll be talking about Beth, and I have a lot of thoughts to say about her. But today we're talking about Alejandro. So Alejandro is a contestant from. I can't speak. Oh my god. It's 6:09 where I live, first of all. And second of all, I have not been feeling good all day because my stomach was hurting. I could not go to class today. And yet I'm recording a video for you. That's how dedicated I am to you. But Alejandro was a contestant, the main antagonist actually, and one of the finalists from Total Drama World Tour. He was one of the free newcomers to the series, and in season 3, he was a member on Team Chris is really, 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 really hot. Yes, yes, that's the title of the team. Blame Sierra, not me, or blame the writers. Oh, whatever. But and he was also seen on the yacht in the first episode of Total Drama Tragedy Island, and he returned in a robot in the first episode of Total Drama All Stars, which is the most hated season. and he was a member of the villainous Vultures. So that's a quick background on this character. So he, I can't speak. Oh my god. So if we look on his character profile, we get a photo of what he looks like. He is a tall Spanish teen with shoulder length, I would say, brown hair and green eyes. And he's wearing red shirt, and then he has a white shirt underneath, and he's also wearing black pants and black boots. So that's what he looks like basically. If I can actually get a photo to appear on this, you'll be able to see what he looks like. We're gonna hope and pray I can get that up. But and then if we check his other character profile, if we check the character profile on the wiki, his label is the arch villain because each character or whatever they have a certain stereotype. So, and he was in 35 episodes of Total Drama, and then one episode, I guess, as a cameo of Total Drama Rama. So then you'll be able to drop down and see basically his stats on his profile. So in Total Drama World Tour, he was on Team Chris is really really hot, and then he made it to the merge, and he was eliminated in the last episode of that season, Hawaiian Punch or Aloha finale. Oh my god, or Aloha finale, depending on which region you live in. Where I live, it was called Hawaiian Punch when it was on Netflix. So yeah, and depending on where you live, he was either first or second. He was second in my country. I live in America. He was second. And then in Total Drama All Stars, he was on the villainous Vultures, and then he also made the Verge in that episode in that season. And then his elimination was the Obstacle Kill Course, and he was sixth. So that's a bit of a fall, especially considering he made it to the finale in Total Drama World Tour. So that's a bit of a fall. And then his additional I can't speak. So if you can check his interactions with, he's in a relationship with another competitor that we'll talk about later in the series, Heather. Courtney, it was a one-sided attraction. If you check, it's one-sided interaction. One-sided attractions to everyone except Heather. Bridget, one-sided attraction on her end, and both of these ended Courtney and Bridget's. Same with Lashana, and same with Lindsay. He has three friends. Heather, I don't know how that's gonna go because they're both basically the same. Lindsay and Tyler, however, this friendship is one sided on Tyler's side. And he has a whole bunch of enemies. Bridget, Cameron from Revenge of the Island, Cody from the first generation, Courtney, DJ, Duncan, Ezekiel, Gwen, Harold, Lashana, Mike from Revenge of the Island, Noah, Owen, Sam, also from Revenge of the Island, Scott, also from Revenge of the Island, Sierra, one of the new contestants, and Zoe. And he has two parents, his mother and his father. His uncle Julio, Jose, who we actually see in an episode in Total Drama All Stars, and Carlos, who we don't see. And he is voiced by not one, but two, but three voice actors. In World Tour, he is voiced by Marco Grazzini. I'm so sorry if I pronounced that wrong. I'm so sorry. Alex House in Total Drama All Stars, and Keith Oliver when he was in The Robot. So he has three voice actors. If I had to choose a favorite, it had to be Marco Grazzini. I think he voiced the character to absolute perfection. It makes him sound very seductive, I would say. And and when he shows his true colors, he's I feel like if I watched this when I was really young, I would be downright terrified of him. I'm not, obviously, but if I had watched this when I was younger, I would be terrified of him. And I would probably avoid World Tour as a whole, and probably All Stars too. Well, no, I'd probably watch it with All Stars. But here's actually a fun fact. When I watched this series for the first time when 5 seasons were on Netflix, Island, Action, All Stars, Paxo Island, and Ridiculous Race, I did not know that Revenge of the Island and World Tour existed. because I thought, oh, All Stars was the first. I'm so no, I'm not making this up. I actually thought it was the third season, but then when we saw like all the new characters from Veggie Island, I was like, "Who are these people?" And then when we get to new characters, like, "Oh," and then when we get to Ezekiel, I was like, "What happened to him? I thought he was normal." I missed 2 seasons. What can I say? I I blame Netflix for that because I was confused. And then when Alejandro appeared when that robot thing exploded, I was so confused because he had, history of ever. And I was like, what is going on in this season? And then when I watched an endings video, all endings from Total Trauma on their official channel, I'll link that video down below if I can find it. I was so confused when I saw Heather, Alejandro, Cameron, and Lightning's endings. I was so confused because I hadn't watched World Tour or Veggie Island yet. And then when I actually found them on the Total Drama official channel, that wasn't the official channel where I found the episodes and the best quality. I watched those seasons. I loved them. We're good on that. But I was so confused when I first watched. I was so confused because I thought All Stars was the third season. And then when I watched World Tour, I was like, oh, that makes sense. But I digress. His first appearance was in the action special. Alejandro, along with Sierra, they made their debut in Celebrity Manhunt's Total Drama Action reunion special, Can't Speak. And he is introduced as a part of the cast in Chris's new show, Total Drama Dirtbags, and he does not make a good first impression on the rest of the cast because he pushes Cody on the red carpet. And without a second thought, he also passes by Chris when he tries to say hi to him or whatever. He ignores him and he just walks in.
You know what? It's given very much of how you doing, Your Honor, Miss Judge Lance Toller. I am here today to get my money from this man. Yeah, want to be a woman. Yeah, he's terrible, Your Honor. He's really terrible.
That's not. If that's not a red flag, I don't know what is. But yeah. But and he actually presents the best reality show award, and it turns out because of I don't know if this was a prank by Chris, the Total Drama cast, they're basically seen as not famous enough to enter or whatever, and they are not allowed entry into the Gemini Awards, so they end up staying outside the whole entire thing. When Alejandro um announces the award for Best Reality Show Ensemble, it's not the cast of Total Drama. It's another show called Golden Gronies and Their Undies, I believe. I don't remember. And he also I think no, that's not him. That's not him. I thought it was Alejandro who also presented the Best Reality Show Host Award to Chris. It wasn't him. I just remember that. And this basically fuels the cast. It's going to the I it's a play on the it's a play on the Oprah show. I don't remember Orpha. That's what it is. It's a play on the Oprah show. Orpha can't speak. But the play on the Oprah show, there Chris was gonna announce the cast of his new show, which is called Total Drama Dirtbags, and Alejandro was part of the cast of that specific show. Well, it's a fake show. Let me stop. But he's actually the one who drives the dirtbag bus to New York. However, the Total Drama cast basically they attempt to beat them to they attempt the Total Drama cast. However, they're driving DJ's mother's bus, and they try to beat the dirtbags to their interview so that they can become famous again. This fails, however, as Courtney and Duncan are making out.
Ew! What an interesting artifact.
And Courtney is not driving during that time, and they actually get off track, and the whole cast falls off a cliff, including DJ's mother, by the way. They fall off a cliff. Luckily, they survive though, and only a few handful of them are actually saved and getting picked up. And Sierra was there too. But I want to point out, and this is so funny to me, Izzy is seen smiling at when they're all falling down. She's seen smiling. It's like happy, happy, happy. Girl, you're about to die. What is wrong with you? But back to Alejandro. Um, However, after Chris rescues the original cast and takes them to the film lot, well, he didn't take the only people who weren't there to get picked up were Beth, Trent, Katie, Sadie, Justin, and Eva and DJ's mother. They weren't there to be picked up. As they actually went to to find help to rescue the others, and they accidentally run into a nuclear testing site, and they're not there when they get picked up. And Alejandro reveals in the film lot that Total Drama Dirtbags wasn't even a thing, and he's angry about this. Chris makes it up to him though, that oh, you can join the cast with Sierra of Total Drama, of my new season of Total Drama. And everyone is happy about this when the same $1 million prize is revealed. Everyone's happy about this. However, the people who I just mentioned, they are sitting on the Jeff. I forgot about Jeff. Dang it. Jeff is also there with them, and they actually make it to the Celebrity Manhunt set, and they are not able to compete this season. So I wonder if Jeff was gonna compete in All Stars, if Jeff was actually on the bus with them, I wonder how they were going to do the aftermath if Jeff wasn't going to be there. But that's actually a fun thought to think about. But Alejandro goes into the makeup confessional and for the first time and warns the cast that the new guy is going all the way to the top, and that's the last that we see of him in a special. Don't know if this is canon or not. I know for a fact that the island special is canon because they don't do any weird discrepancies, but they do a weird discrepancy in Total Drama World Tour where Sierra and Alejandro are introduced and they walk out the bus. It seems like they don't know him when I'm like, y'all already met him before, and Sierra for that matter. She went with you. She went with you to go I can't speak. She went with you to go to make you famous again, and you all forget what happened. See what was going on in the writers' room? Did you all forget that happened or something? But I digress. When Alejandro is introduced by Chris and Walk Like the Egyptian, Walk Like the Egyptian Part 1, a lot of the contestants are shown to quickly get along with him, and then some of the girls are basically swooning because of his good looks. And also, even the wiki points this out, that they when Alejandro is introduced by Chris and Walk Like an Egyptian Part 1, some of the contestants are shown to quickly get along with him, apparently not holding any resentment towards him from the previous episode. Excuse me, did you guys forget what happened? He almost took your job. You had to go after him. You shot caramel candies at his windshield so that you can get to that interview so you can become famous again. Did you all forget that happened? Did you all forget that? See, this is why I think the action special is just not canon to begin with. Cause either this is where the show ends, the Manhunt special, or this essentially never happened because they're basically kissing the ground that Alejandro walks on. So I have no words. But similarly to Justin, though, he is fully aware that the contestants are attracted to the females, unless you got that Al Tyler thing. That's a whole other can of words. I'm probably gonna talk about on another day. Probably not. But He's fully aware that the females are attracted to him, and he intends to use that to his full advantage to manipulate them. Unlike Justin, however, he's smart enough to manipulate others who aren't attracted to him. And it often, thinking that he has good intentions, and it often puts a false sense of security into other contestants so that when he wants to, he can just blindside them later. The only contestant, however, that becomes immediately suspicious to Alejandro off the bat is Heather. But for the most part, Alejandro continues to manipulate others without any problems except Sierra. And this sets him up to be the main antagonist for the season, as many contestants fail to realize that he is evil until they are eliminated. A few examples of this is Bridget, Lashana, and oh no. I think it's Bridget. I think it's just Bridget and Lashana, if I remember correctly. Just watch these. Why am I forgetting this? Oh my god. It's because A, I'm an intern, and B, I'm a full time student. And I have a lot of things in my mind. And I'm a full time fanfic writer, and I also have a lot of things going in my mind. And so I just don't remember basic episodes I've watched for like a million times. My nose is stuffy. So in the first challenge of the season, while he makes significant progress up the pyramid on his own, he actually goes back in order to work together with Bridget, who I mentioned earlier, and Lindsay, who I also mentioned earlier. With Lindsay, in particular, she ignores Tyler in order to go work with him. While the three of them are the second group of people to cross the finish line because Alejandro allows them to cross before him, Alejandro is the first member of Team B, later to become Chris's team. Chris is really, really, really hot. Oh my god! And soon after this, he is joined by Tyler, Noah, and Owen. He pretends to act optimistic about it in front of Chris, but in the confessional, so iconic, he actually curses in Spanish. Like, that's so iconic. This part is iconic. It's iconic. If I could get this scene
Wonderful! ¡Qué idiotas! ¡Incompetentes!
in here without any copyright issues, because I know I'm gonna work so hard this week, 'cause it's gonna be a while to edit. Please watch this scene. It's too funny and it's iconic. So, despite his apparent dislike of his team, he seems to get along with them for quite a while, and he takes leadership of the team. However, he quickly develops a one-sided conflict with Owen. While Owen wants to be his friend, Alejandro finds difficulty in hiding his hatred towards him due to him being generally incompetent in the challenge, his disgusting and immature behavior, and Owen's habit of calling him Al. Keep that in your back pocket. Alejandro's biggest priority of the season seems to be to weather down Team Victory, as he is responsible for many of the team members' eliminations. While Bridget and Lashana were attracted to him early, not Bridget and Lashana, Bridget and Lindsay were attracted to him early on. Alejandro starts to win Lashana over in Super Happy Crazy Fun Time in Japan. Harold appears to be jealous of this, and when Team Victory loses, Alejandro convinces Harold that Lashana loves men who do something honorable, and this causes Harold to vote himself off and then subsequently quit the competition. And Alejandro is also directable. No, is also directly um Alejandro is also directly responsible for Team Victory's loss, and anything you can't do, I can do better. As when Bridget accidentally kisses Alejandro, she develops a crush on him and forgets about her boyfriend, Jeff. Alejandro uses to this Alejandro uses this to his advantage. Before his team picks him up at the meeting point, Alejandro convinces Bridget to kiss him again, only to ditch her and leave Bridget stuck to a pole, and this causes a bigger. I'll talk about that in my Bridget video. Stay tuned. When Bridget inevitably gets eliminated, Alejandro explains that she is expendable, along with anyone else he plans to eliminate in the future. This guy is iconic, but then again, I love the characters dearly. The ones well, except Corny, the ones, and Owen, I guess. And I love the characters so much. Besides the two I just mentioned, that Alejandro manipulates as the season goes on. It pains me to watch it. World Tour is my favorite season, of course, but this is so painful to watch. It's kind of funny, but it's also kind of sad. Because I remember when I first watched anything you can do, I can do better, and when Virgil was eliminated, I swear I think I cried. That's one of my favorite characters, and she gets no respect at all. I'm gonna mention that in my Richard video. Stay tuned. Alejandro's team faces their first loss in Broadway Baby due to Heather's scheming. Alejandro tries to win Sierra over with Candy, and Heather does not allow her to do so, saying that they cannot take anything from the enemy. She's talking about Alejandro. And Alejandro suspects that Heather is trying to win over Sierra because she is Chris's favorite, commending her on the strategy of the process. However, Alejandro manages to convince Sierra that Chris misses his glory days, which are really filled with embarrassing stories about Chris. And after Sierra continues to embarrass Chris, he snaps. Heather, however, notices this and notices that this is Alejandro's plan and manages to trick him by switching his team's baby carriage with an actual one. So are we gonna straight up ignore that Heather basically kidnapped a baby? Actually insane to me. But are we not gonna notice that? Nope. Okay then. Moving on. So while he seems upset about this loss, he actually smirks at Heather when Chris reveals it was a reward challenge the whole time, and Alejandro continues trying to win over girls on other teams in the following episode after the aftermath, of course. He continues to flirt with Lashana, and when Noah questions why he's encouraging her in the final challenge, Alejandro assures him that he is trying to work on an angle on her. Heather tries to warn Lashana about Alejandro, but this tension escalates to Lashana dropping off the panel entirely to slap Heather repeatedly, and this causes her to fall off. And Alejandro surrenders to Sierra when she defeats him, making it an excuse that it's part of Heather's plan to make him lose. Let's be real. I think this is where he starts to fall for her. Heather, at least. I think this is where he starts to fall for her. I know they had a moment in episode 5, but I think that's just easily written off as two enemies just talking to each other. If I had a Wicked song to describe these two, I would choose What Is This Feeling? Every single friends, enemies to lovers, or whatever, they have to have this song as their anthem. You cannot tell me otherwise that What Is This Feeling kind of works for Alejandro and Heather. You cannot tell me. But also, I'm a hardcore Wicked fan, if you can't tell. But I even though I'm late to the Wicked trend, I might have to do a whole video on that. I love Wicked so freaking much. While Alejandro tries to gain the trust of Owen and Cody for a while, he doesn't get very far with it, and he actually switches his focus to DJ, as he is the only member on Team Victory left at this point in time. And he notices that Heather is actually trying to do the exact same thing as him, and mocks her when she gives DJ a cushion to save him from drowning at the beginning of the challenge, and offers DJ an alliance. And during the final part of the challenge, Alejandro points out to DJ that there is an Egyptian symbol on a fish, as in this challenge, DJ and Tyler have to kiss a cod to win the challenge. And this symbol is actually, spoiler, this symbol this I'm gonna wait for my this symbol is actually revealed to be drawn on by Alejandro himself to gain DJ's trust. And he convinces DJ to kiss the cod because he says that it will lift his curse. And as a result, Team Chris is really, really, really hot, and DJ they get to stay in first class. However, though, in the next episode, Chris tells them that there's going to be no more team switches, as in the beginning of the season, Sierra and Izzy they switched teams. So, annoyed by this before their final bobsleigh run, Alejandro accidentally reveals to Tyler that he was the one who put the symbol on on Irene, the fish, the same fish that DJ kissed in order to lift his curse, and he actually named the fish Irene. That's actually a pretty name for a fish. I would never name my fish Irene though. I never had a fish. Never had a pet my whole life. But and that his curse was still there, and DJ overhears this, and without DJ's knowledge, during him and Tyler's run, Alejandro actually breaks apart the track in order for DJ to not complete his final run on the bobsled track, which marks the end of team victory as Alejandro completely got rid of that team. Well, I guess except Lindsay, because Lindsay was just trying to win and she was eliminated so unfairly. Whatever. But and then Alejandro's trust towards the rest of his team kind of starts to boil down in IC London since he was the first one captured in the episode and he was not present. Noah states that he does not trust Alejandro, unaware that Alejandro and the others who were captured by the Ripper, that he was listening to the footage from inside the plane.
Wait a damn minute. Wait a damn.
And then in addition, Alejandro does not seem to trust the new teammate Duncan after he came back. I talk about this extensively in my last video of Total Drama, where I talk about the love triangle and how I simply do not care. And I will also talk about that when I get to Duncan, Gwen, and Courtney's videos of them separately. Not looking forward to that, Courtney fans. You're probably not gonna like what I have to say in that video. I'm just saying, but who feels the same way about him? Duncan feels the same way about him. After Noah gets eliminated because of his actions, Alejandro notices some tension between Tyler and Duncan in the next episode, and he intends to figure out what's going on. After sneaking around in the background during Greek mix / fight for the gold, you can actually see him popping up in the background as he hides behind the Collins as Duncan and Gwen sing. You can check, you can see that. You can clearly see it, but if you missed it, slow down the episode a bit, and then you'll be able to see Alejandro just peeking through the columns and saying, and him twiddling his metaphorical fingers because he's literally just watching. But I'm going crazy. I'm tired, but and he listens to the subject of the song and he realizes that Tyler witnessed the two kiss in the confessional. And after he loses his section of the challenges to Heather, he tells Tyler to explain to everyone what he witnessed between Gwen and Duncan in the confessional, which he eventually gives into. And this reinstates the conflict between Courtney and Gwen, and it also lets Tyler get a head start of the challenge, which he ends up losing. And after Courtney officially breaks up with Duncan, Alejandro uses the opportunity to win over Courtney's trust. At first in the X-Files, he convinces her to flirt with Tyler in order to make Gwen and Duncan jealous, but Tyler refuses to cooperate due to him not wanting to betray Lindsay. Tyler is a G. Let's round of applause to Tyler. He did not want to betray his girl. Let's go, Tyler. Also, to all you Duncan and Courtney fans, Tyler and Lindsay are one of the best couples. For sure. But Duncan promised to save Alejandro from getting attacked by an alien if he promised to vote with him to eliminate Tyler, and Alejandro keeps his word and votes out Tyler that night. And Alejandro simultaneously tries to get the trust of both Courtney and Duncan and picnic at Hanging Dork. In order to do this, Alejandro flirts with Courtney, and when this happens, Duncan appears to be jealous of him. While the purpose of this was to throw Courtney off guard, Duncan's love interest at this part of time, Gwen did not realize this was all an act, as she thought that despite her being with Duncan at this time, she thinks, and this turns out to be true, and she thinks that Duncan is still not over Courtney after what happened. No, but however, Alejandro is surprised to hear that Courtney really actually wants to lose so that she can eliminate Gwen, as she believes Heather was going to vote with her, but she doesn't. When Gwen does, in fact, ends up getting voted out via a tiebreaker, Alejandro continues to flirt with Courtney and even offering her and sharing cookies with her from first class. This was kind of seductive, I guess. Like, this scene is kind of Mm. But Heather makes it funnier, as I was only able to pay attention to Heather when I was watching this episode. This scene was so funny. Due to Noah, not Alejandro, Owen begins to feel more suspicious of Alejandro starring in IC London, but Alejandro's attitude, however, does not change. He still secretly loves him, but he does not show it directly, as revealed in the X Files. Alejandro gave Owen a hypnotic suggestion that made him place revenge on him in the form of pulling his underwear over his head, doing the running man, and singing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game." See, like I said in my last video, this would be funny to me if I actually liked Owen. It's funny, I guess, but Owen is not making me enjoy this scene. And sweet and sour, unbeknownst to him, Duncan has told Owen that Alejandro wasn't to be trusted. However, Alejandro still attempts to act like he is friends with Owen, allowing him to be the leader of the challenge, calling him an incredibly stupid genius for figuring out that they were building a boat and even speaking like a pirate. Although Owen said it was more like Owen said it was a Viking when he was ordered to do so by Owen. And while he has no intention to keep Owen or Courtney's trust, he is more honest when he is trying to get Heather on his side. Unlike every other contestant he has flirted with before him, Alejandro actually has developed a legitimate crush on Heather, although he tries hard not to admit it. When Heather gets jealous, suspicious on why Alejandro was flirting with Courtney so much in Sweet and Sour, Alejandro confesses that he didn't love Courtney. It says the only one he would want to lay eyes on was Heather. And then after that he tells her to vote off Courtney. In the confessional, he happily admits how great it is that Heather was becoming extremely jealous of his relationship with Courtney, but quickly backpedaled that it was so he could quickly eliminate her better. In the next episode, after the aftermath, they're paired together after Sierra refuses to together with him, and they're the first ones to obtain the wedding dress needed to advance to the second part of the challenge. While they initially do the tightrope section well to make their head start, when both of them start arguing about who to vote off next, they both fall off. Though Alejandro later claims in a confessional that he fell on purpose. I don't know if this is true or not. There's nothing in the next episode that suggests that Alejandro fell on purpose or whatever. I don't know. The math ain't mathing, Alejandro. The math ain't mathing. But but he manages to convince Duncan, Heather, and Sierra to vote Owen, as his popularity made him a threat. He kicked Owen out the door, but he actually gets farted in the face. Mm.
Ugh. Brother, ugh. What's that? What's that, brother?
Mm. In Chinese Fake Out, Alejandro actually tells Heather that they need to corroborate with Sierra in order to make her think that she and Cody are truly married. Because in the last episode, after Cody needs to use the bathroom after Sierra came out, he tells her that she had to I do in response to going to the bathroom. Sierra, however, because she wants to get married to Cody, even though I don't know what the rule is in Canada, but here in the US, you have to be 18 in order to get married. I don't know if that's the same in Canada. And so since Sierra had a minister degree or whatever, she was able to marry Cody, and Alejandro was the witness. I'm gonna mention this in my Cody and Sierra videos because this is messed up, but it's funny. So, in this episode, Alejandro tells Heather that they need to cooperate with Sierra in order to make her think that she and Cody are truly married. in order to get her on their side. Heather says that she is not on his side and turns down this offer. And Alejandro takes the lead during the challenge along with Duncan, but he actually goes back in order to help Courtney. As a favor, Alejandro wants Courtney to eat the meals provided in the second challenge for him. Since he has a very weak stomach, he's actually very squeamish. We actually have an ice machine, so that's what you hear in the background. So hold on. And I also have an alarm going off. It's 6:45, and I actually have multiple alarms going off. Hold on. Be right back. I have so many alarms going off right now, but I let's just move on. So, however, he's eventually caught in this act. He's eliminated from the challenge before Blaley leaves alongside Courtney. She re- Before Blaley leaves alongside Courtney, she reveals Heather and Alejandro's mutual crush on each other.
Yeah, no shit, Sherlock.
And because of this event, Alejandro spends much of the next episode denying that he loves Heather and vice versa. After stealing the trick balls, he works together with Duncan in order to find mutant Ezekiel. But ends up betraying Duncan so that he can win invincibility and vote it off. And much to everyone's surprise, Alejandro ends up taking Cody to first class with him, which is the move that angers Heather. Mm-mm-mm. And then in the next episode, Rapapui, 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 he promises to give Cody a huge candy basket that he won, knowing that Cody has a sweet tooth. And in return, Cody uses the candy basket that he was carrying candy in order to hold his and Alejandro's eggs. Despite this trust he places in Cody, he quickly turns against him when he quickly turns on him. When he's invited to share first class with Heather after she wins, he spends the beginning of Odd Drumheller photoshopping a fake image of Cody sleeping beside Heather, making it seem like they basically, I'm not saying it, but you know what I mean, in order to make Sierra mad. And this works, as it seems that Alejandro turned Sierra against Heather. And Alejandro has an intention to have to vote off either her or Cody in the next elimination. And during the challenge, Alejandro gets the least amount of votes for his dinosaur, despite the fact that his dinosaur was the only dinosaur that was based on a real one. Therefore, he gets no advantage in the next challenge. And during this challenge, Heather actually gets trapped. Well, she actually jumps into a hole as a boulder was hurtling towards her, and in the same hole, she gets wedged by a giant rock. And Alejandro hears Heather's cries for help, and he comes to investigate. And then seeing that Heather is trapped in the hole, he actually thinks about leaving her there so that he can steal her oil barrel and leave. However, Heather ends up changing his mind. And he rescues her. This so this is how we will end. This is a banger, and I can't wait to write it in my fan fiction. This is a banger. This song is a banger. One of the best for sure. Juanita wins invincibility because Sierra won invincibility. Alejandro is certain that Heather will vote with him and eliminate Cody, but however, Alejandro was going to be the one who was going to go home, but Sierra, since it was Cody's birthday, she actually brings out a cake for him and explodes the plane by accident. I'm not. If you have never watched this series, first of all, click off this video, and second of all, I'm not lying. I should have put this. Sorry, but Sierra is disqualified before the last vote is revealed, and after seeing the votes that were burned in the fire, not Heather, Alejandro realizes that Heather betrayed his trust and actually voted for him. When the cast is instructed to get to Hawaii in planes, trains, and not airmobiles, Alejandro resorts to boarding a truck that contains many animals from the series that are presumably being transferred to Hawaii, which is the finale location. Within the truck, he finds Ezekiel and plans on letting him out if he plans on cooperating with him. When he begins to explore the train he's traveling on, he sees Heather and angry at her past betrayal. He unleashes mutant Ezekiel on her. Both of them eventually end up on top of the train, and during the song I'm Gonna Make It, Alejandro is pushed off the train, but Alejandro doesn't fall that far behind because and due to a group of nearby horses that he rides on, eventually joined by Heather, both of them reaches to the shore at the same time, but Heather manages to get ahead of him. After a swordfish fight between him and Cody, who he managed to catch up to, they both reach the shore at the same time, meaning a tiebreaker must be done before the final challenge. There's so many ads on the site. So, there's a whole lot of stuff, so let's get into it. Alejandro manages to defeat Cody in the tiebreaker at the beginning of Hawaiian Punch due to Heather's intervention. However, most of the peanut gallery is mad at him because most of them were on Team Cody. Some of them were on Team Alejandro, and Heather only had one person rooting for her, which was Blaney. If I was watching this show from home, if I was like one of the contestants, I would have been on Team Heather because at least she actively tried to get rid of him. Well, I guess for the most part. I guess for the most part. But presumably making Alejandro lose several potential supporters, and Alejandro chooses Courtney and Tyler as his helpers, but due to Tyler being knocked out in the moment, he chooses Lindsay instead. And due to Courtney winning, and then Heather chooses Harold and Cody, and this leads into the final song of Total Trauma World Tour, Versus. I get why some people don't like that song, but I personally like it because the autotune the autotune is showing how fake Alejandro truly is. He is not this charming, nice young man. He's actually a twisted and he's twisted and he's evil. And the autotune makes it seem like he's just truly fake inside and out. Those writers, the songwriters who wrote the songs, they knew what they was doing, and whoever's doing the beats, they knew what they was doing because Alejandro sounds truly fake, and I think Heather is barely auto tune. The jarring auto tune. She's barely auto tuned throughout the song. Alejandro is fully auto tuned throughout the whole song. Y'all knew what they was doing. Props to you. So, and Alejandro has an advantage of being able to use a wheelbarrow to carry his wooden dummy of Heather up the volcano path. And he manages to get to the top of the volcano earlier than Heather, only following behind when Cody calls him Al. Remember when I said that this Al thing would be important later on? Here it is. This reminds him of his older brother Jose, who I mentioned earlier, and Jose would constantly taunt him and do all these mean things towards him while also calling him Al. And Alejandro hates that. Cody and Owen taunt him continuously throughout this episode. And Alejandro and Jose are the villains who I genuinely feel bad about because they both grew up kind of terribly. Jose's mother engraved this harmful rhetoric or whatever that if you get bronze is the first to lose, and this kind of sets in Jose's mind. That's why she and Jacques are the antagonists of ridonclous race. I'll talk about them in a video coming up. I don't know, but and Alejandro was constantly, I'll basically say it, bullied by Jose growing up, and this is why he's as effed up as he is today. But he manages to get ahead once again, and Alejandro gets to the volcano first. Heather, who is discouraged, tells him to give up and throw. Heather actually gives up and tells him to throw the dummy into the volcano. However, already, and Alejandro goes to talk to Heather due to his confidence, and before admitting that he loves her, and then Heather accidentally admits So she feels the same way, and this is the same in both endings. The two of them share a very awkward kiss, but Alejandro suddenly kicks him in the groin, knees it in the groin, and uses a nearby ice block to send him hurtling down the volcano. Let's put a pin in it. For the most part, in every single season except the reboot season, each season has an alternate ending. Alejandro's ending is the alternate ending, and his fate slightly alters depending on which ending you watch. In Heather's ending, if let me see. If Heather is the winner, Alejandro remains at the base of the volcano, but if Heather accidentally throws his dummy into the volcano instead of hers, Alejandro is declared of the winning. But in this scenario, however, in his ending, he tries climbing up the volcano to claim his prize. How and then along the way he is confused when Chris runs past him in advance to get the prize of what he deserves. However, this ending does not change his fate in the end as he is burned by the lava. He's engulfed by lava despite which ending you watch. As he climbs up, he gets trampled by the rest of the cast and he can't get up. And Alejandro is burned by the volcano as the lava, falls down on him, which is brutal. That is brutal. That is brutal. Absolutely brutal. And then in Heather's ending, he still, as he goes down, he sees lava rocks shooting down at him as Heather and Chris run towards the ocean, and then the rest of the cast trample him, and then he tries to say, "Hey, wait for me," and blatantly rolls over him, and he gets engulfed by lava. So either way, depending on which ending you watch, Alejandro gets burned by the lava, and yet he survives. If this happened in real life, Alejandro would be dead. He'd be dead. But regardless, or whatever, it's the same meaning. Alejandro has to be the villain who has the most brutal fates. I guess you can count Mal because he basically dies at the end of All Stars. He just disappears. But in my opinion, Mal had it better. Alejandro nearly died. He got burnt by lava, whichever ending you watch, and he is put into a robot suit for the next year of his life. That must be traumatic. I can't imagine when Alejandro is older and if he remembers that part of his life. That would be absolutely traumatic. Alejandro, I seriously hope you are in therapy because that is ridiculous. Also, Heather was robbed. I'll tell you that. And I'll mention it in my Heather video coming up. So, at the end of the credits, this reveals that Alejandro's injuries are so severe that he has to be placed in the drama machine robot in order to survive. And in this new body, Alejandro finds out about the status of the money, which was destroyed by Ezekiel in both endings, because he wants to win so bad that, depending on which ending you want to either, he literally fights Heather or Chris, and he has the money, and he falls into the volcano along with the money. I don't know how Alejandro and Ezekiel survive this. I seriously don't know. And he yells, "No!" as the episode ends. And that was Alejandro's entire journey throughout Total Drama World Tour. But wait, you say, what about Revenge of the Island? As he has a cameo on Revenge of the Island. Well, I'll tell you this. In bigger, badder, brutaler, Alejandro appears on a yacht, on the yacht with the other veterans, and he is still in the Total Drama machine and is standing at the bow of the yacht, holding Heather in his arms while she stares at him, annoyed. That's basically all he gets in Revenge of the Island, as he doesn't have a special cameo episode like some of the other contestants do, and I can't imagine how that would work since he's trapped in a robot suit. But wait. Arya, what about Total Drama All-Stars? Well, I'll get into that. Let's get into it. Alejandro is first introduced in Heroes vs. Villains, and he's still inside the drama machine for most of the episode, and he is added by Chris as the villainous Vulture's final member. Joe, a Revenge of the Island contestant, complains that their team had one less member, Initially, no one has any idea on who he really is, although that doesn't stop Heather from getting annoyed by him for invading his personal space. Everything changes though, as Scott pushes him into the lake. Well, not pushes. He actually gets knocked off the not. He actually gets knocked off the the cliff by Scott, and sharks attack it, which causes the robot to get damaged, and this causes it to explode. And this frees Alejandro for the first time in over a year. And everyone is shocked by this. The most shocked being Heather. While most of his injury, he still looks pretty hot, even though he was burned by lava and he was in the robot suit for a year. However, while most of his injuries have recovered, his legs have become paralyzed and he falls flat on the ground. He does have a key in his hand, and this causes their team to win the first challenge. In Evil Dread, his body is fully recovered, and he decides to get back at Heather for her betrayal 2 seasons ago. It's revealed that at some point between the first and second episode, Alejandro's legs have recovered, and he pretends that they're still paralyzed in a bid to make Heather feel bad, and spends the first half of his season on his hands, walking on his hands. I'm a dancer. I am not that flexible where I could just walk on my hands. No, I'm a dancer myself. I've said this a while. I said this a few times on my channel. But I am not flexible enough where I could just stand on my hands and just walk around on my hands. Alejandro, you must have been a dancer or something. Well, I know he did a lot of stuff beforehand, but he must have gone to a few dance classes beforehand, because that's impressive. And Alejandro spends the entire challenge lying down, digging while lying down on the beach, and eventually finds his foot snapped by a crab. During this challenge, Heather thinks that Alejandro was faking it, and when the crab bites his foot, he just pretends, he just lays on the ground, continues digging, and yawns. And Heather says in the confessional, "Oh, okay, maybe he was right, maybe his legs are paralyzed." And then in the same confessional, and then in this confessional, Alejandro says it took everything in him to not scream. As when the crab is a room by him, he actually screams into his hole, and then he stands up and reveals that he can walk normally. Alejandro may had the the craziest injury by far, and he bounced back. He bounced back from that really quickly, like in a year. I know if that happened in real life, either they'd be dead or they'd be out of commission for like, I don't know, 3 years or something. In saving private leech ball, Alejandro takes the habit of sleeping inside a sleeping bag on his bed, simulate the feeling of being confined after noticing that he can't sleep if he's spread out. And he is taken out quickly when he is hit by a leech to his rear. In food fright, Alejandro continues to, taunt Hover, and then towards the end of this challenge, he develops a brief rivalry with Sam and his cot, and it is defeated by him at the challenge due to a bee sting in his. But fortunately for him, Sam is caught cheating, sparing Alejandro from possible elimination. Heather and Alejandro's feud continues in Mood Madness when Alejandro decides to mess with Heather's head and pretend that he is no longer interested in her. When Heather begins to act nice during this challenge, Alejandro is worried and he's scared about the sudden change in her, and is successfully tricked by her. When it was revealed that she was faking this as payback, and fawns at her in the confessional when she goes back to normal. Heather and Alejandro, they seriously need Oscars for being best actors and actresses. Like, I don't know if they're together after the show. It seems like they are. They better be successful actors by this point, because they are both talented. Because I could never be me. Could never be me. After this, Heather begins to plot Alejandro's downfall, and no one expects the Spanish opposition. Alejandro is doing the same thing, and the two form an alliance after seeing Gwen bond with Cameron. And during this challenge, Heather decides to make a move of disposing Alejandro and recruits the other team members of her team, enjoying her and voting her off by turning them against Alejandro. By chance, be- Heather comes upon the McLean brand Chris head. However, Alejandro notices this and steals it from her. And after their team loses, Alejandro gets the majority of their team. Alejandro does get the majority of the votes thanks to Heather's efforts, but Alejandro reveals two secrets. He stands up, showing that his legs have recovered, and then he takes the island he's so stolen. As Alejandro now has an immunity, 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 his sole vote against Heather means that she's the one who's eliminated.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I have the mind of a master. I have the mind of a mastermind. What's that? I don't know, but I'm so creative like that.
And despite Alejandro's success in getting avenged, his actions are not without consequences. His entire team turns on him in the next episode. In Sucker's Punch, Alejandro's team glares at him for lying and voting out Heather unfairly. Heather, not Scott, not Heather. Scott refers to him as legs at baking, and Courtney calls him Al in the confessional. And Courtney calls him Al. In the confessional, Alejandro reveals that he had a dream about his older brother, who I mentioned twice, Jose, last night, talks about his brother. And during the boxing challenge, Alejandro is pitted against his brother, who he despises. The two actually do body hits, as they were not raised to hit people in the face. Um, I don't know how that works, but okay. At first, they seem evenly matched, but all this changes when Jose mocks Heather's personality, which angers Alejandro so much, and it allows him to clobber his brothers in winning the challenge. And he also declares his feelings for Heather in the confessional, how he defended her name and asks her to call him. This is funny. That's funny. That's funny. Following the merge, and you gotta be kidding me, Alejandro finds himself without an ally. Despite his disadvantage, Alejandro manages to take first place throughout the race until his boat stops towards the end. However, he snatches victory from the challenge by from Gwen and Courtney winning by touching his nose to the finish line. After the challenge, Alejandro accepts an alliance offer from Mike. Yeah, Mike. That's totally Mike. Nope. That's Mal. Oopsie. Due to like Due to how unexpected the offer was, and in the end, he wins immunity in the night at the McLean Stall Hotel. To spare everyone's feelings, he decides to not take anyone with him. In Zeke and Ye Shall Find, Alejandro discovers that Mike is not who he seems. After coming across a DVD called Mal's Greatest Hits, Alejandro discovers that Mike is actually Mal, the culprit behind the destruction of several contestants' belongings. Sierra's phone, Cameron's glasses, and Sam's game console, or whatever, as being responsible for a large number of crimes throughout the season. He also discovers that Mal is attempting to frame him for rigging the votes against Cameron in the previous episode. Alejandro quickly heads to the cabins and plants evidence under Mike's bed for Cameron to discover, and having secured his safety for the time being, Alejandro keeps the DVD as evidence. When the contestants have to rescue Chris from Ezekiel, he starts making poor decisions instead of doing the right thing. He rejects the team up with Gwen and wants to claim the reward for himself. And when he gets his boot stuck in the river, he tries calling for help, but he fails. And then during the challenge, he finds a stuck Cameron. He's holding onto a branch in this pit thing, and Cameron is about to fall and possibly die. Alejandro tries to save him, but the latter doesn't trust him and rejects his help completely. And after Mal is brought with the others, he predicts Gwen will win and explains his conversation with Cameron. Zoe, Mike's girlfriend, questions this and demands to know what happened to Cameron. And Alejandro tries to reason with Zoe, stating that he tried to help him with Cameron reviews. Mal accuses Cameron not Cameron, Alejandro of leaving Cameron hanging by a friend. And at this point, Alejandro states that he did leave him hanging. After everyone is rescued by Gwen, she sets them Phony Island as punishment for being too selfish, not being smart, and for letting Mal slip away. Alejandro was going through a rough time in these last few episodes. Let's be real. Let's be real. In the obstacle course, Mal successfully tricks Cameron. Not Cameron. Cameron. Mal successfully tricks the other contestants into thinking that Alejandro is the one who let Cameron fall, tampering with the votes, in as an attempt to eliminate Cameron and being responsible for manipulating Cameron into kissing Courtney to break apart her relationship with Scott. Meanwhile, Alejandro races against Mal to warn others about the truth, but is either thwarted by Mal or arrives too late. With everyone voting against him without any safety statue, Alejandro is eliminated. Before taking the flash of shame, he makes one final attempt to warn Zoe about Val and gives her a riddle, stating that the truth is in the art. And in an exclusive clip, Alejandro is reunited with Heather at the Yukon. She slaps him across the face, but he was happy to see her anyway, and they leave together on her snowmobile. And after this, it was revealed in the All Stars finale that they have made up and they were starting to date. And Chris is and Chris is shocked and disgusted by this. And they spend most of the episode being affectionate towards each other and making out beside instead of helping Mal. Eventually, because not Cameron, Mike and Zoe were kissing, and then Cameron, not Cameron, and then Gwen kissed Cameron on the cheek. He got so fed up that he changes the challenge so that prize money becomes up for grabs for anyone besides the finalists besides the finalists who were Mike / Mal and Zoe. Upon hearing this, Heather and Alejandro turn to each other and start to fight. However, Mike stops them because he retained control of his body and gives him one of Fang's teeth. And this causes the mutant shark to chase Alejandro in a similar way to what he did in Scott in season 4. One of the finalists, either Mike and Zoe won in My Country when All Stars were still on Netflix, pull out the sword and wins the season, and the island begins to sink. Heather's frustrated that they've been cheating out $1 million again, but Alejandro comforts her, saying that they have each other. And that moment is interrupted by Fang, who starts to chase them, forcing them to swim with their lives again. And that's the last we see of Heather or Alejandro. But luckily, luckily the creators confirmed that they survived. And then he makes a brief cameo in a whole a lot of trouble, alongside Jasmine, a Pacto Island contestant, and Heather competing against Izzy, Cody, Courtney, and Lightning inside Izzy's imagination. And that's basically where we stand with Alejandro. And then there's a whole bunch of trivia that I'm not going to get into today, as it's too much in this video is already so long. So, that was Alejandro's journey throughout the entire show. And we are now at the end of this long-winded video. My thoughts are on Alejandro. Here are my thoughts on him. Alejandro is one of my favorite characters by far, and he's definitely the best villain by far. And if I would have to rank him, I would say I would definitely put him in the top 10 for sure. Number 4. This ranking will change as the videos go on. So, that was the end of today's video. So, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And comment down below on what you think about Alejandro and Go. And before we end this video, a quick update on the Queen of Webs video. I am editing. I already finished the notes, but I'm going through the last edits of this, and then I will announce who the character is in a few days. So make sure you get those guesses in my big announcement video. So, and with that in mind, I'll see you all in the next video. Bye!